Welcome to threading your Bernina L660 and L650. I'm Doris Breckbuhl, educator and overlock specialist at Bernina International, and I know a thing or two about these machines. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to use the one-step Bernina air threader, the built-in needle threader, the manual needle threader, and alternatives for looper threading. However, a detailed description of all contents in this video you'll find below, so that you can easily navigate to those topics that interest you most. First, we will extend the thread guide fully and align it for optimal stitching. I recommend to stabilize large spools. Thanks to needle stop up, the machine is in the correct position for threading loopers and needles. To make sure it is in the right position, briefly press the foot control and the needles will stop up. For threading, you need to raise the presser foot to open the thread tensions. And a note before we start, of course, in real life we would select the stitch first, because not for all stitches all 4 threads are needed. There is no defined threading sequence. You can thread any sequence, but for all threads the first 3 guides are the same. Antenna, pre-tension, thread tension. Make sure your thread clicks into the pre-tension before you place it between the tension discs. Pre-tension and tension. Now we come to threading the loopers with the one-step Bernina air threader. Open the looper cover by turning it outwards. When you activate the air threader, the looper pipe will close and the threading light will go on. That confirms the machine is ready to use the air threader. When I now press the foot control, the air threader motor runs. Pull approx 40 centimeters of thread loose, press the foot control, and that's how easy your looper is threaded. Same with the lower looper. Press the foot control and your looper is threaded. Now we thread the needles using the built-in needle threader on the L660. I will show you later how to use the manual threader. Follow the color-coded thread path, green, take up lever, guide, and guide at the needle holder. Set the needle threader to green for the right needle. And if you do this the first time, I recommend to do it slowly. Press the needle threader down halfway, place the thread around the nose, pull the threader down all the way, pull the thread to the right and to the back, and the wire will pull it through the needle eye. Then you pull the thread fully through. That's how easy it works with your built-in needle threader. Same for the left needle, following the yellow color code. Guide, take up lever, thread guide, needle holder, and your left needle is threaded. We will now look at the manual needle threader, which can be used for the L660 and the L650. Hold the threader with the triangle up. Place the thread horizontally in the threader, holding it slightly tight. Position it in front of the needle and slide down with light pressure until the thread is pushed through the needle eye. Then pull the loop fully through. Hold the threader triangle up, place the thread horizontally through the threader, hold it tight with slight pressure, guide it along the needle until it pushes the thread through the eye. Pull the loop fully through and your needle is threaded. When we now swing the foot out, we can comfortably place all threads under the presser foot. Next, let's have a look at the upper looper converter. The upper looper converter is used for stitches where you don't thread the upper looper. That means I'll take the upper looper thread out. To activate the upper looper converter, swing it to the left and hook it into your upper looper eye. Now, the upper looper converter will take the lower looper thread, bring it to the needles, and a stitch is built. Did you know that your machine sews slowly max 1 stitch when the looper cover is open? So when I press the foot control, the machine sews 1 stitch. To disengage, simply press the hook out of the looper eye. That also works easier when the looper is not in the upper position. Press it out and swing it all the way to the right. And one more tip, before threading the upper looper, it may be useful to check whether the upper looper converter is engaged or not. How do we finish the threading process? As long as the air threader is activated, I cannot close the looper cover. This knob here will protect it. That means I need to deactivate the air threader, align the looper cover with the notch here, and swing it in until the magnet connects. Then the machine is ready for sewing. Let me now show you 2 possible errors. If the needles are not in the up position, when I activate the air threader, the pipe will not close and the threading light will not go on. But if I press the foot control, the pipe will close, the threading light will go on, and at the same time the air threader motor starts. So this is also a possible way to thread the loopers. Same, of course, if the needles are not in the totally up position. When you activate the needle threader, the wire will not come through the needle eye. For this also, the needle stop up position is helpful. Let me simulate an error. I press the foot control. If you now hear a continuous signal, the machine has an error. To solve that issue, I have to open the machine, turn the air threader off, turn the machine off, and switch it on again. And the error message has gone. The air threader has 2 defined positions, on and off. We will now come to changing the needles, because not all stitches are sewn with both needles. Also, when using a heavier thread, you may be in need to use a thicker needle. Find the tools for the needle change in your accessories box. I prefer to use the needle holder to prevent the needle falling into the machine. Slide it over the needle loosen the screw a little bit and let the needle fall down. Unused needles can be stored in the needle pad in the box. I recommend to retighten the screw slightly to prevent dust and fluff from accumulating in the needle holder. Unscrew the needle, let it fall down, tighten the screw. When you change the new needle, I also use the needle holder. Place the new needle with the flat side to the back in your tool. Insert it into the needle holder. Maybe necessary to open the screw slightly. Check in the window to have the needle all the way up before tightening the screw. That's how we change the needles. Let's now have a look at looper threading alternatives. My preference is always the one-step Bernina air threader. The one-step Bernina air threader works well for fine and medium weight threads. It's as easy as that. My second preference is cutting the thread and knotting it on. That also works well with fine to medium weight threads, or with medium weight to fine threads. Cut, knot, and when pulling through, pull slowly and carefully to check if the knot goes into the looper smoothly. When we come to heavy threads, there may be limitations to the knot. I try. And pull really carefully. So if the knot goes not through, I cut the thread and use a thread cradle as an alternative. That means my thread is approx 80 centimeters long. I fold it in half and place the decorative thread through the loop. Then I can use the air threader for the two loose ends. And with that auxiliary thread, I can pull the decorative thread through. And off you go with decorative stitching. So far, so good. We've threaded the machine, looked at possible errors, and are now ready for stitch selection and sewing test. And please take note, should the air threader not work, I talk about a mechanical malfunction, please take your machine to a notarized Bernina dealer for a service. If you click on the link, you'll find more tutorials. For example, stretchy seams with 4 and 3 thread overlock, sewing rolled hems, or about the various settings on your machine. If this video has been helpful, give us a like. And we would love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Bernina, made to create.